Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Mindful Metal Jacket podcast. I'm Joe List, and I'm here with a book recommendation. Well, any book by Alan Watts, but this is Become What You Are. Alan Watts really set me off on the journey of Eastern philosophy and all these things, and he's a goddamn treasure. Alan Watts. I forgot this book was sitting next to me, so I just picked it up. Anyways, we're back. We're done with all the Zoom and the mobile, or whatever you call that. What was the word I used earlier? Remote. Yeah, the remote recordings, remote control, starring Colin Quinn. Oh, maybe we'll get Colin on. My old pal, Colin. He hates podcasts. This is the thing about Colin. He's one of my best friends in the wide world. We talk. I love him. He means so much to me. But every time we talk, he mentions how much he hates doing podcasts. Then I see him on everyone's podcast, so why don't I just ask him, I guess, you know? Anyways, this week's guest is not Colin Quinn. Just as good, though, just as famous, just as popular, Peter Wong is my guest. That's a joke. It sounds like I'm shitting on Peter. Peter is a great comic and a great friend. He's just obviously not as successful or famous as Colin. That's the joke. The joke is not that he sucks. The joke is that Colin is so great. I really should stop and re-record all of this, but I'm not going to because it's a lot of fun. And this episode was fun. Today's guest, as I've mentioned, is my pal, one of my newer buddies, Peter Wong, hilarious comedian from Queens, right here in Queens, where I'm recording this. And I met him through Steve Rogers, frequent guest, past, I don't know about frequent. He hasn't been on in 4 years, but he's been on twice. Or maybe 3 times. Maybe he did 3 episodes, Steve Rogers. Anyways, he lives upstairs. He introduced me to this fella, Peter. Met him a while ago. Very funny guy. This episode's a little different, a little wacky. We talk about some issues, some like political issues, I feel like, or race kind of stuff. And we have some funny stuff. We try to talk about the source of Peter's anger. We talk about his relationships. And he was great. I think we had a good time. We recorded it in my living room, as you'll see, and I think you're going to find a lot of fun stuff. Let me see Peter's Instagram. Peter, what the hell? Comedian Peter W. Maybe that's his website. His Instagram is Peter Wong Comedy. What we talk about: getting to the root of his anger, his immigrant family, difficult parents, American identity, comedy. A lot of good stuff in here. We talk about misogyny. We talk about just a lot of fun stuff. And I just referred to misogyny as fun stuff. We talk about misogyny, period, return, enter, space, and some fun stuff. Misogyny is not fun, folks. Love all women, except for your mother, because they're the reason you're anxious and angry and sad. We talk about that too. Anyways, I recorded 11 intros in a row, and I'm starting to get punchy. The point is, this is a wonderful episode with my friend Peter Wong. If you're listening to this, please subscribe on iTunes. Leave a review, 5 stars. Leave a comment on the YouTube. Subscribe. Tell a friend. That's the best thing you can do for any podcast if you love it. Share it with somebody. Tell people. Reach out to me. Say, hey, I loved it. Reach out to Peter Wong and saying, great hearing you. I really connected with that. That's what life's all about, connecting with other people, letting people know what they mean to you, and being kind to yourself. Make sure you're being nice to yourself, folks. Negative self-talk, #1 contributor to depression and anxiety. Depression and anxiety, #1 contributor to suicide. Live, baby. Be kind. Please rewind. Enjoy this episode with myself and my friend, Peter Wong. All right, we're live.
Yeah.
Oh, see, this is I will have already been like, Peter Wong's a comedian. He's great. He's hilarious.
You have?
I haven't yet, but at them seeing it, at the time of them seeing this.
I thought you meant like in previous pods you've said that, and I got really flattered for a second.
No, I would never say that.
Yeah.
So I just fired down a hot, spicy burrito, and so my eyes are watering, and my father's gay. Excuse me, but
Your father's gay or dead?
Neither.
What'd
I find my father's gay, which is a line from Seinfeld. You're a Seinfeld fan, right?
No. I think,
Really?
Yeah.
The TV show?
Yeah, I mean, I always thought it was fine, but I was never a big fan of it. That's one of the things that gave, like, every time you talk, you bring up, you do a lot of Seinfeld references.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for not
Oh, that's okay.
being a part of it. Because
Jeez.
but I wish I think,
So what's your history with the show? How old are you? Can I ask you that?
I'm 32.
All right. So, you're young for when it first was out.
Yeah. But Seinfeld was around. But I was a Simpsons guy.
Right. Also great.
Yeah.
But don't you think Simpsons has been, I know I'm not the first to say this, it's been bad for longer than it was good?
Yeah, probably. I mean, shows like that, when they go on for a while, I think eventually they kind of get more formulaic.
Yes.
Phone it in. The bits become more callbacks.
Right.
Right. So yeah, I would say that Family Guy's the same, similar.
Yeah. I love Family Guy. I'm a Family Guy over Simpsons, by the way. I know that's sacrilegious,
Really?
but I don't know. Simpsons, this is not what the podcast is about at all, but Simpsons seasons like 3 through 7 or 8 are just like unbelievable magic. Some of the greatest stuff ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Family Guy is just, I haven't watched the last few seasons. Maybe it sucks also.
Yeah.
We'll cut all this out. And maybe the whole episode.
Yeah.
But anyway, so tell me a little bit about your history of Seinfeld. Did you watch it as a kid? When did you first watch?
It would come on after The Simpsons, and I would usually change.
Come on after The Simpsons.
Yeah, because
on like reruns or something.
Yeah, it would go Simpsons, and then they'd throw on Seinfeld. It alternated throughout the years what came after The Simpsons, but I know The Simpsons was usually a 7 p.m. time slot, something like that, and then followed by no more cartoons. It was time for
what channel are we talking here?
I think it was Fox. Because Simpsons was on Fox, and they had Seinfeld on there as well. If I'm not remembering incorrectly.
Maybe. I guess Fox had Seinfeld for a while. The syndication.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Fox,
okay.
Yep.
We're just different generations here, so I'm all whacked out.
Yeah. How old are you?
I am 59. No, I'm kidding. I'm 41. Yeah. But by the time Seinfeld was on Fox, I think I was already... I don't know where I was watching it. I had them all on VHS when I was a kid.
So
and when it came out on DVD, then I had it on DVD, of course, and then later Netflix. But when I was a kid, I got so upset. Not a kid, but 18, 19, 20. Which is a kid. Mm-hmm. I had every Seinfeld on VHS. I have all of seasons 7, 8, and 9, the original broadcasts recorded because I was obsessed with the show.
Wow, you're a super fan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a way of life. But then when the DVDs came out, I remember being upset, being like, now everybody's going to have access to my Seinfeld. Now, this is what the show's about, is mental health and ego and anxiety and all that stuff. And I remember being upset that the rest of the nation could now possess what I had already possessed. Yeah. That's my mental unwellness.
Yeah. You're not alone in that. Like,
certainly.
Sometimes I hear a song that is like really good, and I'm mad that everyone's going to hear it.
Interesting. Because you discovered it first.
I found it. Yeah, I found it early-ish, and then I'm just upset of everyone who's going to hear it and not know that I heard it before them.
Yes, I have that too. So we're similar. Okay, we're bonding that because I remember the song "Wagon Wheel" by Old Crow Medicine Show. You know that song? No. It's become a huge hit. Rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Scoop it up, jizz and fart and heels. Something like that. It was like kind of this band called Old Crow Medicine Show, who I think is from Rhode Island.
This is a new band.
This is 15 years now. This is probably 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. But they were sort of like an Americana roots, not popular. And I learned this song. I volunteered on a boat, the Mystic Whaler, where we taught kids about the environment and taught them how to sail. And it was I'm a volunteer kind of guy.
Okay, yeah.
You probably think I'm a bad person, but I'm a great person. And anyways, I learned the song because we would play, and then I knew this song, and it was such a fun sing-along song, and it was a small song, and then the country artist covered it, and now it's like this hit country horse shit.
Yeah.
And it makes me livid. I can't even listen to the original version now. It like bothers me that like my family is like, oh, that's the song.
Yeah.
So we're bonding over this.
I get you.
Yeah. And I feel that way sometimes too. This is again.
Old Town Road is that way.
Which one?
You know Lil Nas X?
Oh yeah, I know that song.
He has an Old Town Road, and that's become for a lot of Gen Z. That's their introduction to that song, which I don't even know if I don't know what the original is.
Oh, actually, I don't know the original either.
I don't know if there is an original.
Oh, so you're just making things up to be upset about? I don't know either.
No, I didn't say I was upset, but I think that's an example of one of those things.
I suppose so.
It sounds like it.
It does.
Rappers like to do that.
Of course, yeah.
They take an old thing and...
Which is funny because we were that... Well, I have this now too because when I was a kid, I was obsessed with, Springsteen and Led Zeppelin and Bob Dylan and all that stuff. The Clash, and they had all sort of past prime or just broken up.
But back in your day, they were already past prime.
Yeah. Like in the 90s, I was like, Zeppelin wasn't, and I guess they were touring individually or Page and Plant, but like the Beatles had broken up long before I was around or born.
Right.
But now I'm that guy. I saw my niece that had like a Nirvana shirt. And I'm like, what? I was there, man. Yeah. And so now I'm that guy for them. So I can't do that. I have to be like, oh, now a slight difference is I don't think she's actually, not my niece, but like my cousin or something, a family. I'm like, I don't think you're actually sitting in your room listening to Nirvana obsessively. Right, because
Nirvana has become a very, that T-shirt with the face.
Yeah.
That's just become a very fashionable tee. Yeah. So they probably don't actually listen.
Yeah. So,
but would it make you happy if they did? Like if they listened to it and listened to it like a lot? Because I feel like that's a very easy way to connect with the youth is if you happen to listen to the same.
Yeah, I think so. That's the better thing. I mean, that's what it's all about, letting go of this ego in some way and connecting and be like, yeah, you like what I like. Because I remember being mad that my family or something would be like, you listen to all old music, you weren't even around. But I'm like, but it's recorded. It's still around currently now.
Yeah.
I'm listening to it.
Yeah, yeah.
So it doesn't really make sense. And I also liked new music at the time also. I'm like, I like Weezer and the Toadies and Green Day and Pearl Jam and Nirvana.
Yeah.
And, Silverchair. Uh-huh. I also like Led Zeppelin and The Who and the Ramones.
Right. Yeah. It's weird to be bothered by a kid liking old things because I think that's very charming. I think my little brother's getting into the music that I was listening to growing up. Right. And I think it's great.
Yeah. Well, sometimes there's this again, and it's like, it's ego, but like I've had a bunch of people, I guess Adam Sandler doing Eddie Vedder on SNL just like went viral as a TikTok. Yeah. And I've had like 12 people send it to me, be like, dude. And I'm like, yeah, I was there. I remember. I fucking watched it. Like they're sending it to me like, have you seen this?
Oh, so this was viral back then already. Like and now it's like coming back on. Yeah.
And it's like the equivalent of me sending my uncle like, look at this. Here's footage of Reagan being shot. Isn't this nuts? And he's like, yeah, what? I watched that. That's how I feel. I'm like, what are you kidding? I know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. But anyways, this is like way out in right field. But I think we connected to some degree on this. Yeah. By the way, that's a nice t-shirt. What's that? A $40 t-shirt?
Thank you. This is
50?
This is around 20 to 30.
It looks nice.
Thank
May
you.
I?
Please.
Ooh, that is thick.
Yeah.
I looked at Lex like, wow, how about this?
Right.
Did you have a date after this? Is that right?
Yeah, I'm going over to a lady's house and I'm going to make some tacos.
So that's not a date. You're dating.
Yeah, but it's very early. We're about a month in.
Okay.
So we haven't defined it yet.
Ooh. Is this going to fuck up your shit? This won't come out for a while. You'll be long broken up since
Should be fine. But I was thinking about it as I was thinking about doing your podcast today. I'm like, what if we talk about it and then it comes out and that's her first exposure to the conversation about it?
Right. Well, this will be, I have like 8 episodes in the can and this isn't coming out for a while. So this will be a couple months.
Oh, so yeah, then we don't have to worry. But that is, speaking of anxieties, is right. It's something that's been on my mind is because I've never been in a relationship ever. And so.
What?
Yeah, I've not. And so this is kind of, I don't know how to navigate this. I don't know, when's it too early? When's it too late? Like it's all, confusing.
Well, let's dive into this. I mean, you've never been in a relationship? Why do you think that is? Have you come close or what's going on there?
I think the closest I came was like this thing was like the situation where this girl was visiting New York for an internship. And then we saw each other for about a month and she had to move back home. That was probably the most like closest thing because we really liked each other and stuff. But no, I was a very late bloomer and had a lot of issues with women and stuff, and
like anxiety,
nerves?
And
like hate and misogyny. And
oh, geez,
all sorts of things.
Oh, wow. Can we talk about this?
Yeah, please do.
Where did you grow up? In the city?
I grew up in Queens, Flushing. I grew up in Queens and went to school in Harlem, high school in Harlem.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. No, you're not that much younger than me. I was like, I wonder if I lived in Harlem when you were in high school, but that doesn't make sense.
That's possible. Could
that make sense? What year did you graduate?
I graduated 2008.
Whoa. I lived in Harlem in 2009.
Oh, close.
That's crazy. 127th at St. Nicholas. I'm wearing, it's like a badge. I'm like, yeah, baby.
It is cool being not black and living in Harlem.
I thought it was cool, but then later you realize I'm like, oh, that's gentrification. I'm like an asshole.
Later on, yeah.
Yeah, but at the time I felt like
if you lived in Harlem in the 70s or 80s, that'd be super cool. But you weren't alive. But
this is the thing. Well, I was alive in the 80s, but this is the thing that I've talked about before. I think people do this as a bit. Is now there's so much stuff about racism this and racism that and whatever. But back in the 60s, I mean, racism was vile and prevalent, but back then you could like share popcorn with a black guy and you were like a hero.
Yeah.
Now it's like you can literally have 3 best friends that are black and a wife that's black, and people are like, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
You're still racist. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So in a way, for us, for white people, that was glory. Like, there's stories about like Bill Russell, and they're like, Bill Russell drank a sip of my beer, and like a guy's like crying, or vice versa. Bob Cousy took a sip of my beer, and he's like crying, and he's like, and I knew I had a friend for life. And I'm like, those were the glory days.
Yeah.
Of showing people you're not racist.
Yes.
Now, it's an impossibility. It doesn't matter what you do. Anyone could just be like, no, because of this, you're a bad person.
Yeah, I know. And now it takes the fun out of hanging out with black people.
Right. Because it feels, wait, what does? I agree it's not fun to hang out with black people, but why are you saying?
The whole fun in the past was the service that you're providing.
Well, you could feel like a hero, but now, you know what I mean, right? Is this crazy? I'm just saying, I would have loved, like, Chris Allen has slept in my mother's house. Like, you'd think.
Is Chris Allen a black celebrity?
He's a black man, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I've hugged him and everything.
Is he a famous person, or is he someone that your podcasters know?
Oh, no. He's a terrible failure of a comedian. Very unsuccessful and unattractive. I'm just kidding, buddy. No, he's a great comic. He lives in D.C. area.
I do relate to wanting to not look racist because I have a fantasy of adopting like a black kid and how cool that'll look.
It's interesting because so many people will adopt Asian kids, well, I mean, white people.
Yeah.
And you want to adopt a black kid.
Yes.
And a black person must have to adopt a Native American or something. It just goes on. This is the most controversial mindful metal jacket of all time. It's not that I'm...
Yeah, what's the lines here? Because I don't know. I'm just walking in blind.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Well, we're supposed to be talking about your horrendous misogyny and hatred of women.
Instead, we walked into my horrendous racism.
But yeah, I'm just saying, I'm not like longing to prove I'm not racist. The point is just that now accusations of race are frequently happen, and then you see the people try to go, well, no, I'm not, because there's no getting out of that. If you're accused of being racist, that's it.
Right.
Where back then, it was like, what do you mean? We shared a mashed potato, and you're like, that guy, there's no way that guy's racist.
Right, because he had a... But do you think that was that strong of an argument back then, even?
Well, I think back then, people were like throwing bricks through the windows of black people and like, saying, don't eat in my fucking restaurant.
Right.
So to hold hands with a black person was like,
a big
whoa.
deal. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so the goalpost has moved.
Yes.
Right?
I think so.
So what would you have to do now to...
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think there is no, people have been like accused of racist comment, and they've been like, I'm married to a black woman. They're like, that doesn't matter.
Right.
That just means you're fetishizing a black person or whatever. Like a white person marrying a black person can now be spun as racism in itself.
Right. Because now it's I guess race has been studied more, and now the stuff like privilege is a big deal.
Right.
Is a big part of the conversation. And
Right.
so I'm sure the conversation will change in a couple of years to kind of figure out what this privilege thing. But right now, the white privilege and even Asian privilege is become, it's almost kind of weaponized in the racism conversation. Right. So it's almost like you don't get to say anything because of that.
Yeah,
I don't know how to get around it.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on diving into race and race relations. An Asian guy and a white guy talking race relations. But do you find this? Because I've thought this too. Maybe this is a better question for a black person. But I'm like, sometimes people use the umbrella of people of color, and Asians get included in there.
Do they?
I think so. Sometimes.
Sometimes they. I think to white people they are. To black people, I don't think Asians are included in it.
Well, this is how I've always felt. Is like if I was a black person, I would be outraged when people say people of color and include Indian and Asians, and it's like, wait, I was like. My people were brought here against our will. We didn't fly in and say, all right, we're making a new life. Yeah. So I always felt like I would be outraged, but I wanted to get your perspective.
Wait, you would be outraged?
If I was a black person.
Oh, if you were a black person and then Asians were called...
Saying, hey, people of color over here.
Yes. So to black people... In the discussion of oppression, Asians are not really considered people of color.
Right.
POC in the sense of non-whites, Asians are included.
Right.
But as far as who went through the struggles, Chinese are not part of that, and I don't think. And that used to upset me, but it kind of makes sense that we're not included. We didn't go through. Even the Asian hate stuff is it's kind of tame compared to all the other.
Did you feel the Asian hate in the last few years? Are you the victim of Asian hate in the last couple of years?
No.
Well, that's controversial too. By the way, I'm trembling having this conversation.
I had during my I had a bit which was that there's been a lot of Asian hate, and it's been hard because all my Asian friends are being attacked and nothing's happening to me and I have to pretend like things. They're like, oh, funny. It's so hard I can't go outside. Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, that's definitely really tough. So it's something that I've thought about a bit. I had something close or just I had a ambiguous situation.
Okay.
Remember, so you were supposed to do the gig in Connecticut in a casino. This was right when coronavirus was starting. Steven was opening for you.
Yes.
Ended up that you couldn't go because you got sick.
I was sick, yeah.
Steven headlines and calls me to come. So I come, and now it's me and him that night. And I think I took your hotel that night. So I'm taking the elevator to your hotel, and a couple is about to get on. And Corona's just getting started.
Yeah.
It's from China. That's all we know.
This is before it shut down, yeah.
Before it shut down. A couple, the lady's drunk, the man's not. And they're about to get on the elevator and they see me and she goes, no.
Wow.
And then the husband is seeing this and he goes, no, it's fine. Let's go.
Oh, wow.
And she goes, nope. And then walks away. And the husband goes, I'm sorry. And then
oh, okay. Wow. That's fun. Well, I guess at the time, in defense of her, it literally was in China.
Yes.
And it was like, okay, maybe her math is like, this guy might have just been in China, maybe. I guess is what is going through her mind.
Yes. Yeah. Well, she did, which would be a generalization. If that's the case. I wasn't hurt by it, but that's probably the closest. That's a little blip.
I do think, I mean, this is what would be interesting is if I was on the elevator, would she have said that? Because it's possible she's like, I don't want to be that close to a person, although she is at a casino.
Yeah.
But it does feel like she's like, wait, Asian is probably a higher chance.
Yes.
Like at that time, it felt like only Asian people had COVID.
Really?
I think to people because it was in China. It wasn't prevalent in the United States yet.
Oh, yeah? I thought that I didn't know.
Isn't that right? It was.
I thought we were already at that point. Like it was getting around to everybody. Asian
I guess
or
so.
not.
That felt like the time when it was like 7 people in Seattle had it. That's what I thought that period of time was.
I think we just had this. No, that I remember we had already the state of emergency had already started.
Is that right?
Oh, the week before, because
no, it was that weekend because
New York was in a state of emergency.
I don't know if it was. Was it?
Because
maybe I'm getting my timeline messed up.
I remember me and Steve were in Pennsylvania. We saw a state of emergency, and I remember like the last thing I possibly did was the Connecticut show.
Maybe you're right. Because I was thinking it was when there was literally like, we have 8 cases in Seattle and it's this fella named Steve, Bob or whatever. And it was just like a guy like, hi.
No, the day I was in the casino, it was already weird. Like the place was pretty empty.
Right.
And they had 3 microphones already because they didn't want us sharing microphones theatrically for the audience to show that we're not using the same mic.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it was already like, we were already scared.
I guess you're right. And now that I'm thinking, I'm like, that was post NBA getting canceled. For me, that's the real defining moment is like the NBA has ended its season.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, because now we're just doing a COVID podcast, but because they were like, we're ready to lose $7 billion. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But yes, that was that week. So I guess there was cases in New York at the time, and so, yeah. But it's so weird to think about, and I know this has been pointed out many times, but like the most shut down we ever were, there was probably like 400 cases in America.
Really?
I mean, or maybe it was widespread. I mean, we didn't know it wasn't that many, right?
Oh, you mean before we locked down?
Like when we locked down,
yeah,
there was way less than when we were not locked down.
Yes.
Like last Christmas, there was no lockdown and fucking 10 million people probably had it.
Yeah.
But there was a point where we were locked down and I think like 60 people had the fucking thing.
Yes. And by that point, it was apparent from, I'm guessing how the virus is, it was already too late.
Right.
Which is going to spread.
Yeah, it was all bullshit. Who cares? What are we talking about?
Yeah, don't buy it. Don't buy it.
Anyways, we got to get into mental health here.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about, Peter? What am I hosting here? All right, you have no women in your life because you hate women. How did that happen? Tell me about this.
That's like the sensationalist headline version of what I will say about it. But I grew up I was very shy. I didn't ask a girl out until 21.
Wow.
And I was always a fumbling, nervous mess and awkward for a while, and then I kind of try to go out and break out of my shell and talk to girls and stuff. And I kind of read all these kind of things in the forums, like Red Pill and stuff like that. Like pickup artist stuff.
Oh.
And then it kind of led to this Red Pill stuff, which is what the Andrew Tate stuff is now.
But I thought Red Pill was like I'm hardcore right. The blue pill and the red pill. Am I crazy about this?
That might be it too. The red pill applies to a lot of things, I feel.
I thought when you're like, this person's been red pilled, it means like they're all into Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck. Am I crazy about that?
You might be right.
I'm just looking to Lex.
Yeah, Lex, you got anything?
I'm an idiot. I don't know.
Like, I think blue pill is like, oh, okay. Is this a Matrix reference?
I think it's a Matrix reference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anyways, there's a community called the Red Pill. Not that I was really ever in it, but I'm just using it as a general term. The Red Pills are incels, who are like women or like this and like that. Basically, I was very frustrated that I couldn't get laid.
Right.
And then I kind of projected that onto like, oh, it's because women are like this. They're just fucking chasing guys with money and all stuff. I got really upset for a while. So I didn't want to. I kind of was not in a good place on what I thought of women, but I do want to get laid and try to, so I would go out and talk to girls and stuff, just all nervous and stuff. And so, yeah, I didn't get into a relationship for a long time. I couldn't really get a lot of dates going.
Right. Did you try the apps?
Yeah, I tried the apps for a bit, but I never had any success with them. My pictures were not good. My stuff I said was stupid.
You said that was very funny. Wow.
I mean, it was all self-inflicted
right
stuff.
Boy, I'm getting sad because you seem like a pretty cool guy, but are you an anxious guy? I mean, I don't know you that well. We're really getting to know each other here because I know you as Steve's friend, and Steve goes, "This guy's great." You come over, you bring snacks, you're a ball of laughs. You seem to have a great sense of humor.
Thank you.
And you're a regular-looking guy. You're not like, oh, jeez.
Well, the first time we hung, I was a ball of anxiety, which was at the Central Park.
Oh yeah, you came with Toby.
Yes.
Yes, I remember that.
I don't think
I
I said
shit
a
on your
word.
snack. You brought a snack and I shit on it. Is that right?
I don't remember.
I think you brought like pie or something crazy.
No, I wouldn't bring sweets, but Tobin brought cupcakes.
Maybe I shit on him.
Yeah, I don't.
Brought something. Didn't you bring something in a Tupperware, like a meal,
I don't remember.
like lasagna or something? Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I would not bring lasagna.
But I remember you being a quiet fella. But I tried to reach out. I was nice, right? I tried to say, "Hey, Peter, what do you think?"
Yes, you're great. And then, well, here's my anxiety of it was that day I was just, I say much and I was like, he hates me, you know? And then that night you were at New York at the show, doing a show. And then I came to hang and watch. And then you were very nice and saw me sitting aside. You performed and sat with me. And then...
I did?
Yeah, sat.
Oh, all right.
And then
I'm nervous as hell. I'm just waiting for you to be like, and then you were like, whatever the fuck. And then you offered me chop suey or something. I don't know. I was nice.
Yes, you were very nice. And then I made like a joke about the girl on stage or something. And then you're like, oh yeah, huh? And then you got up and walked away, and I was like, I shouldn't have made that joke.
It wasn't Sarah, was it?
No.
Oh, okay. What if you were like, this chick sucks, fuck her? And I was like, that's my wife. Well, you seem like a very normal guy. That's why I'm curious about all this. But so you're a socially anxious guy.
Socially anxious. I'll say I'm probably not clinically anxious, but I do have like a lot of worry about the future and yeah, that stuff kind of just runs in in me and my mom. We're very similar in that way.
When you say future, do you mean like cancer and climate change and death, or do you mean like next week's show or rent for next month? What kind
rent for next month? Just this deep like a fear of just not achieving. It's just like real like fear of being a loser, fear of being like weird and not successful.
Now, do you have that from your parents? I think because that's like the stereotype is that like Asian parents are like, you got to go to Harvard. God damn it, it's all about the GPA and success. Do you have that, or is this is separate from that? What do you think that
Yeah,
is?
a little bit. Like I think it was pretty clear early on I wasn't going to be in any Ivy League school just because my grades were never quite up to snuff. I think I was pretty smart, but just I didn't care for the grades, no matter how much my parents kind of pushed it at first. But the stuff that really kind of I think is, and I don't know if this turns into anxiety or depression or something else, but there's one thing that mom said that kind of encapsulates kind of her attitude towards me as far as expectations go, which was where she was with her friends and they're talking about their kids getting into schools, Ivy League schools and stuff. Yeah. And she was telling me that she's with them talking about this, and she goes, and I didn't even want to bring you up because, I mean, what would I even say? And,
wow.
And so that's sort of the stuff of like, well, that may have planted the seed of me trying to prove her wrong.
Right.
And then now there's anxiety of making sure she's wrong because her summation of me as what she considered as a disappointment is like, I have to beat that or something.
Right. That's a great assessment because I feel like I just came from therapy. So this is exciting, but it's sorry, just checking the time. But my fear is always that I'm like, we've been talking for 3 hours. You missed your date. You're going to remain single forever. But the parents are so fucking hard because you so deeply want these people's approval, and it's so hard to get, and that's you just keep chasing it. And we were talking about this. I bring, and maybe you do this, I don't know, but I'm like, I don't know if this is the similar thing is like, when I was a child, I didn't get whatever I craved or needed from the parents, whatever kind of approval or feeling of approval. And so now I bring it into my outside life where my therapist is like, you got to just keep it there. It's sad that you're not getting what you think you need or want from your parents. That should just be that. But instead, I go, look at this guy selling this many tickets. I'm only selling this amount of tickets. I still can't get recognized.
Right.
This guy's getting more recognized than me. And it's this very similar thing. It's I'm taking that not being seen and bringing it over here, ignoring all the people that are seeing it.
Right. So
there's many people that think you're great, just not your mom. That's all right. if that means, I'm only kidding about that part because I thought it'd be funny. But
no, that was
does that
good.
sound connectable? I mean, like,
it does.
Like you carry that into career and relationships. Like you're always trying to improve. And
Yeah,
then maybe,
I feel very I think I'm an overall positive person.
Yeah, you seem like a positive guy to me.
I try to do that. I really hate too much complaining. I hate bitterness. I think that's stuff I avoid. But when I have a bad day, the thought of my career is it can be it's almost always dissatisfaction if I'm not in the right mindset.
Right.
Very dissatisfied. What can I be doing better? I need to look at my peers. They're doing this. I'm doing this. Yada yada yada. Right.
Right.
So that's I would say that sort of comparison and I think maybe the nature of comedy has put that anxiety at a higher degree, like exponent, like it may be like a little more intense.
Right. Well, this is the weird thing about comedy now is like we have like it's like we're all like assigned numbers now. It's because you have like views on Reels, ticket sales, Instagram. So it's like it's so hard not to compare yourself.
It's like a numerical value of your worth.
Exactly.
If you want to read it that way.
Yeah, exactly. That's
unavoidable.
That's how it feels. But how long have you been doing comedy?
7 years.
Oh, okay. So you're like pretty new, really.
Is that new? I mean, I know that's people say 10, you got to do 10 and all that stuff. But I mean, from this side, 7 feels, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I've been doing it for 7 years. Yeah,
I guess you always feel that way. Did you ever watch the movie Comedian?
Yes.
When there's like great scene where Orny's like, I've been doing this 7 years and I lost, and my friends are all doing this and that. And it becomes funny to think about 7 years. To me, I've been doing comedy for 23 years. So it's like 7 becomes like comical.
Yeah.
That's when I moved to New York.
How many of those years would you say were rough? Like,
I mean, all of them were rough. I mean, many of them were rough because I was a fucking alcoholic idiot, just fucking around and not trying. And it's also the career, the job is so different now. I didn't have Reels, and I said for years, and I've said this other places, like when I was doing comedy, most of the time I was doing comedy, I was like, if you put in an hour of work a day, you're like ahead of everybody. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, if you put in less than 6 hours a day, you're behind because of podcasts and clips and all that. Now, do you have a podcast?
No, I don't.
Have you ever had a podcast?
Briefly, just like for a second.
And yeah, it's weird because it feels like everybody has to have a podcast now, but you're doing without. What about Reels? Do you post the clips in the business?
I have some clips. I have a recording of an hour I just did in Minnesota. I've kind of made a bunch of clips out of that, and I want to have a plan to kind of put them out.
Right.
One
that
after
sounds
another.
Great. An hour of material 7 years in I didn't have that.
Oh yeah?
No, I had nothing.
Wait till you see it.
I'm not going to see it. I'm not going to watch it. That's insane.
Well, it's hour of material.
But so how did you get into comedy? What made you want to be a comedian? Are your parents funny? When did you first see comedy? Where did you hear it? And what was their reaction?
My dad is very funny.
And your parents, are they immigrants?
Yeah.
Are you an immigrant?
Yeah.
When did you come here?
1.
Wow, just like Sarah. Different country, I assume.
Canada, right, Sarah?
South Africa.
South Africa. Okay.
Yeah. And where are you from?
Hong Kong.
Right. Hong Kong is so confusing. Can you give me Hong Kong in 30 words or less? It's China. It's not China. It's a country. It is a country. What is Hong Kong?
You're asking the wrong person.
That's hilarious. You don't even know.
No, actually, like this sort of thing that running joke I guess I have is like, I ask Gus Tate and Turner Sparks a lot about what China's like.
I don't know who those people are.
So they're white guys that did comedy in China. And then, so they come and I'm like, how is the government there? And what's it like? Chinese people, huh?
Do you know Joe Wong?
Joe Wong, the comedian?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Oh. No. He's huge in China.
Yes.
But he started in Boston, or maybe he started in China. I can't remember. But he did comedy in Boston very successfully. And we were around at the same time.
Oh, I didn't know he was a Boston guy.
Yeah, he's a big Boston comic.
Yeah.
He has a great Letterman. I think he's back in China. He's a big star.
Oh, great.
But so you generally don't know. Is Hong Kong a country? I know I'm ignorant here.
Sure.
Do you not know either?
I literally don't. I really don't care about China and all that shit for the most part.
But this is where you're from.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
I know. It's just there's nothing more boring to me than.
Well, this is not. You know what this feels like? It's like you ever run a red light and you're scared you're going to get caught, and then you look and the guy behind you also ran it, and so you're like, perfect. He committed more of a crime than I did.
Yeah.
My ignorance on Hong Kong looks fantastic now because you are literally from there, and you don't know.
I don't, and I don't know. In a way, I'm like, why do I have to know? Like, I'm here. All that I need to know and all that I want to care about is here. I'm sure there's a historical relevance to it that I'll look into at some point,
right?
Out of boredom. But as far as like it to be like significant in any of my day to day life, well, absolutely not. Well,
that's fair. I'm not trying to shame you for not knowing. It's just interesting. Like, I'm not saying, hey, give me your 23andMe. How could you not know which tribe you came from in 800 AD or whatever?
Right.
But I would just think you would know
if it's a country,
if Hong Kong is a nation or not. Because I'm confused by Hong Kong. But I know of Hong Kong. The huge buildings, lots of people. I know where it is. I can point to it on a map.
Yes.
Lex, can you shed light on this? Is that a city or a region or a nation? He's going to look it up. Lex is off mic. You can't hear him. I got to tell you, this is one of the wackiest episodes of the podcast ever, but I think it's very good. I hope.
So. I am.
Okay, so your dad's a funny guy. You immigrated here. You were one. Do you have siblings?
Yeah.
Were they older, younger?
Two younger.
So they were born here.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very similar to Sarah.
Yeah.
And so with your parents, did they get out because of, were they fleeing? Was it trauma, or they just thought we can do better there?
I only learned this recently.
Okay.
I believe they left because of the one child person per person policy. Because that thing is true. If you have a child and it's a girl, you have to figure out how to get rid of it. So my mom, I believe, wanted to come to this country and just have kids without worrying about throwing a little girl in a dumpster.
Right.
So
fair.
So now, so that's why they came, and that's what I gather from it, was so that they could do that.
Wow. Now, do you and your siblings get along? You guys have a good relationship?
We didn't growing up, but now we have a great relationship.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I used to hit my brother a lot.
Oh, wow.
He was much smaller than me. But that's what I learned from my dad. Told him to hit. He hit me, and so I can hit him.
Wow. So your dad hit you. You're open. You're able to talk about this?
Yeah.
Like a lot, excessively?
Like just nothing like, I think there's stories of what's it, Goodwill Hunting? He was like, pick a wrench off the, it's not like that.
Right. Yeah.
But
it's an absurd part of that plot, I always thought.
He's like, where he says, you want to pick
the wrench and get beaten with a wrench, and I'm going to get criticized because people are, oh, fuck. But I'm like, I know someone's been beaten with it. It just feels like beating with a wrench. Like it could have been like, oh my God, that's horrible. He's the victim of abuse without it being a wrench. Like if you hit a kid with a wrench, I feel like you'd fucking kill them.
Yeah.
Like it takes me out of the movie. I'm like, what?
Yeah, wrench is
He's beating him with a fucking wrench.
Extreme. It's insane.
His ribs would all be cracked up and fucking insane. How is he like participating in society? He should be a serial killer. But anyways, I don't want to digress here. By the way, what do you think of Mark Wahlberg? He beat the shit of an Asian guy, blinded him. You ever think about that?
Was that the reason he beat him up?
I believe so. Lex is saying yes from the thing. I believe so.
He beat him up because he's Asian?
Also yelling racial slurs at him.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So it's not something that you think about too much.
Well, that makes me think of him less.
But you forgive, I guess. It was a long time ago. What are you going to do?
If I see Mark, I'll bring it up.
Yeah, it's off-putting, to say the least. But, what can you do? But anyway.
Back then, it was the 60s or whatever.
Yeah, it was fun. I don't think it was the 60s, but
whatever.
Probably the 80s. But so your dad would hit you, but
discipline hits, like he. But I
Spank,
remember one
like
time,
a smack in the butt or like in the face?
it
What are we
was like
talking?
he did a lot of pinching or grab a coat hanger and hit you with it. And then some irrational ones where it was like, I invited my friend over without telling him, and then I go, "Hey, my buddy's coming over real quick." He goes, "Why didn't you tell me?" I go, "Oh, I just thought it was okay." I think he like punched me on the top of the head.
Wow.
So like here and there.
Did it? And what age did that stop?
I'd say like 12 or 13.
Wow. And how was your relationship with your dad now?
Awful.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah,
Is it
it's not
because
great.
of that, do you think?
That's not really. It's just later on he has like this weird bipolar temper to him where like you talking for a bit and things could be good, and then in a minute like just something will set him off, and then he's just fucking really like abusive and stuff. So no, we don't have a great relationship.
Yeah, that probably has a lot to do with your lack of confidence and insecurity, I would think.
Yeah, I maybe.
And discomfort, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. To me, it's like hitting a kid, physical pain and threat coming from the person who's supposed to protect you.
Oh yeah.
Is the most horrific thing I can think of.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I feel for you. I want to give you a big hug, buddy. I mean, this is terrible.
Oh, it's all right. Damage has been done.
Do they come to the shows ever?
No, I don't think they will.
Do you want them to come to the shows?
Not really. I mean, they have this cinematic kind of fantasy where like I'm doing finally in some big, big name theater, and my mom's sitting there, and maybe she finally gets it.
Right.
But I think the reality is she probably won't show up or whatever, or she'll be there and just not really understand it.
Well, I think going back to what I talk about in therapy, a big thing is I think people like this, we fantasize of like, I'm going to do this, and then my parents will be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
We're crazy. Why didn't we say something earlier? But the
Yeah.
fact is it's just not going to happen, and letting go of that happening would bring relief sooner.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you've let that go, right?
No.
No.
No, I got a big show this Saturday. Sold out crowd. But
I think I've pretty much let that go. I don't seek it anymore. I mean, sometimes it pops up in a spurt, like at a dinner, and I'll be like, "Hey, I was actually doing this out of town for and then just to kind of feel it." But then it's always like, okay, like it's not. I kind of quickly reel it and go, "Oh, don't go chase this again, because it's not going to lead anywhere."
Right. No, it's a hard thing in life to do things that you think will make you happy, but you have to remember that they're just going to make you happy. You can't make anyone else happy or happy for you.
Yeah.
You
It's a
can't control
weird
anyone's
concept to
reactions.
grasp. Like you don't, it's especially with like I needed therapy to grasp that. It's such an odd thing to do stuff for you. I know that seems silly as like at this area,
Right.
on this side, but for a while it's like you derive all your meaning from some upper thing telling you all those meanings. So you kind of follow that. You followed something, and then eventually you kind of have to think for yourself and going, oh well, what is it that I'm going to follow internally? And that's a very tough question to answer.
Yes, it's very hard. Well, it's very hard to think. I think for people like us, especially like, or people that are anxious or insecure, whatever it is, to feel that we have the power to justify ourselves. Like I shouldn't need somebody else to say you're great. I should be able to see it, but I don't like myself enough to believe what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it only takes a certain amount of moments or meditation or whatever it is to go, boy, sometimes I tap into myself as a child and go, man, I was like so afraid to go to school or to talk to anybody or to speak. I was like such a deeply introverted child, like problematically so. They sent me to fucking therapy to be like, he won't speak to anybody.
Well, holy shit.
To now doing a show for 1,000 people and thriving in front of audiences is quite miraculous. And somehow I still need an outside person to tell me that. And I should just be able to go, wow, that's amazing. Like you were abused essentially by your father, and yet here you are thriving, doing what you love, and you're doing fantastic.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah, you're great. We've never had a guest cry. If you want to have it out, I mean, do you feel that way?
It was very tender. That was very good.
Well,
you know,
are you able to connect to that? You're like, this is pretty amazing that you're pursuing it, because it doesn't sound like you had parents that were extremely sort of idealistically supportive, or ideally, whatever word I'm looking for. I'm not smart. Are you smart? I assume
I'm
you're
very
smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really smart. It's kind of crazy.
What do you think? Can I just side note? You know, stereotypes, sometimes there's a stereotype that you're just smart. Asians are smart.
Yeah.
Is that offensive, or are you kind of like this? All right, nice.
Well, it is. It's not offensive in the sense of like, oh, how could you say that? But I'm always wary of, because I know you know better, but I'm wary when people throw compliments based on your race at you, because that also means they believe they believe in the world.
They also think you have a small dick.
Yes. You know?
Right. They're like, he's good at math and he knows martial arts.
I think black people, like, when a white person tells a black person, oh, you must have a big dick, that's not really a compliment, really.
Right.
That's also includes, that means behind closed doors, they also think, but he's also stealing and all the
Right.
You know?
Interesting, yeah. Well, I suppose you could just keep the good. Like, I mean, because...
But that said, I also think a lot of racial generalizations are true.
Right. Yeah, of course. I mean, they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, there's obviously a plethora of Asian people getting into high-level schools.
Yes.
So that's why, you know... So it's nice. So you're smart. But
that's because I don't know if let's just say you took a Asian baby and a black baby and a white baby and they just left them all in the woods. I don't think one of them has a better...
The Asians like climbing the tree. Really has like a pulley system.
Exactly.
Right. It's
I think it's the way the parents try to game the system, which I heard this from my Asian buddy, which is that they know that to game the system and getting into Ivy League is a very successful kind of way of life. So I was ahead of my class as far as knowledge of the math and stuff, because my parents put me in prep school during the summertime where people are playing around. I was forced to study SAT stuff and like the next whatever lesson and stuff, so that by the time we get back to school, this is all the stuff I already knew.
Right.
So that's what it is. It's just we get over educated on that stuff, but that's also why we become fucking retarded or autistic,
right?
You know, and can't enjoy just fun old times.
Yeah, and then you have kids jumping off of buildings because they got a B or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So you have that going on.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
so,
boy.
You know,
this is the most racial episode we've ever had.
Yeah. That's what you get when you bring me on.
When I bring in old. Well, okay, we got some time. What time do you have to leave? By the way, do you have a hard out?
Not a hard out, but around 6:40ish.
Okay, well we'll wrap up in the next few minutes here, and I'm
having a great time. By the way, this is great. This is awesome.
So what made you want to do comedy? When did you get introduced to comedy? When did you think I'm going to go pursue comedy?
I was always like the funny kid in class. I was a class clown. You know, I acted up a lot. My anxieties would actually really come. I always have anxieties with girls my entire life.
Right.
But as far as like being loud and obnoxious in class, that always came naturally to me. I don't know why.
You were loud and obnoxious?
Yeah, I was a trouble kid. Like,
wow.
I was always trying to make people laugh. And then being annoying about it too.
Yeah, but I mean, I suppose you were probably craving some attention you weren't getting at home, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. And now, did you go to an Asian school? Were you a minority kid, or were you?
No, I went to a very diverse school. I was in high school for math science engineering in Harlem. It was like, it was every race. Was
okay,
there.
But you thought were you a popular guy then?
No, I was known. I think I was known as probably like annoying kid around, you know, like I wasn't popular.
But you must have been getting some laughs then.
Yes, I was. I mean, for especially the first year or so, I got a lot of laughs. But I think eventually it got old for a lot of people. But I knew I didn't know I wanted to do comedy, but I flunked high school and I only got into community college when I got out of high school.
Wow. Now, why did you flunk high school, I feel like we're very similar because I mean, I didn't have all this prep school business, but I felt like a pretty smart kid, but I failed off the track team and everything. I had horrible grades.
Yeah.
Mine, I think, was a undiagnosed ADD, and also I just hated it. I hated school. I hated learning.
Me too.
So it was kind of similar.
I didn't care for anything. It just nothing interested me. And so when I graduated, I guess I was like, well, I remember seeing some listing for like comedy class in a newspaper. And I was like, well, okay, why not? Why not try it?
Wow. And what were you like listening to? What were you watching? Were you consuming the arts? Were you into like hard rock, punk rock, fucking weird movies, or what? Stand-up comedy?
I liked in high school, I liked Russell Peters.
Okay.
I liked Dimitri Martin, Zach Galifianakis, those guys. I liked Mitch Hedberg, of course. And then once I got into college, I got super into Louis C.K.
Right. I'm familiar.
It was for the audience, I guess.
Yeah.
But I was super, super, super into him. So that's who I consumed a lot. And then music-wise, I got very into like, I liked rock. I like emo music. I like, your Eminem and stuff like that. But I really got into like, your Taking Back Sunday, My Chemical Romance.
Nice.
Fall Out Boy, those kind of.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm always just curious because I'm like, you're angry, you're class clown, you're not doing as well as you should academically. Your father's beating you. I was wondering if you were like rocking out and did you commit crimes or anything? Were you running around? Did you do any vandalism or anything like that?
No, I played it pretty safe. I guess I had like 2 years where I was addicted to poker.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Another stereotype.
Yeah.
All right.
I did.
Do you still play?
I still play. I still like it. But yeah.
Oh, we should
now
play sometime.
I'd love to.
I'd love to go to the casino and play.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's go hang out. Let's go on a road trip. We'll go
down.
to Mohegan. We'll play cards all day.
It's a mess for me. I'll be careful.
So tell me about that. Take me through some of that. What do you mean mess? Have you ever lost thousands or hundreds? Do you go
I
on
lost
tilt?
10,000 in a year when I was 19 years old. I stole money from my mom's bag
Now we're talking. Right at the finish line. We're coming up with some hot stuff. You steal money from your mother to go gamble?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Does your father play poker? Your parents play?
No. I actually thought that was what bad kids did. Like there were like friends I would consider bad kids from middle school who I left when I went to high school. And after failing high school, I was like, I must be one of them. So why not do that stuff? So I started playing poker.
It's so funny. I started playing poker for money when I was like 7 with my family.
Playing for money.
Yeah, I mean like change. Everyone collected their change and they'd be like, here's your change. And then you play cards.
Yeah.
So to me, I think it's like, for me, it was not like, this is what bad kids do. This is what people do.
Oh, yeah. So that's a very healthy kind of
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think that's why I have a healthy relationship with poker. I'm like, this is like a fun thing you do on the weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, I was like, this is fine. I'm a piece of shit. I should be doing this, and I'm going to make my money from this. And I didn't. I lost a lot of money.
Wow. Okay. So you steal money from your mother and you go, where do you go?
So my friend would host house games. Then he would, there was a pool hall where you could rent card tables out, and he would host games there. Then there was these underground games. There was one at the basement of this Chinese restaurant, and it was 2 tables, and there was like drug dealers all around. And I remember one time I'm playing poker, and then on the next table, one of the dealers just did a line off of the table.
The dealer did a line?
Yeah, one of the dealers was doing a line. And I looked at him.
That's amazing.
He goes, "Don't look at me. I'm a junkie."
The dealer. I mean, the dealer is supposed to be the trustworthy person at the table.
Yeah.
I mean, that is fucking hysterical. I wouldn't play at a table where the dealer had a beer, let alone a line of Coke. That's amazing.
I mean, it's an underground, with the cigarettes going and all that stuff. So.
Did you smoke?
No. Didn't smoke. I didn't drink till I was 21.
I'm just slowly throwing out every Asian stereotype I have. You play poker, you smoke, you're really smart, you're good at math.
Yeah.
Eat with sticks.
Yeah, I can use chopsticks.
Nice. Sarah too. So
nice. I feel like me and Sarah have a lot of similarities.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. It's something I'm trying to just set you guys up. I'm like, wow, you're both immigrants. You came here a year, whatever, and you're
I feel
shy.
like
She's never been with a woman. Wait, so hold on. I want to know about. I felt you were going to say something funny. Then did I just put my finger in your neck? I want to hear about. You lost 10,000 in a year. So you just started. This is all in these underground games.
Underground games, online poker. I would deposit and
right.
just lose a bunch there. There's poker houses and stuff, and it all added up.
Wow. What about casinos? You go to casinos?
No, I was not old enough. I was 19.
Wow. No, I guess 21. Weird. I was thinking 18. That's wild. So this is a long time ago.
Yeah.
When's the last time you lost like big money playing poker?
Oh, I don't do that. And I don't now I'll play like $20 games with my buddies on a trip, or if we stop by a casino, I'll drop 100, maybe 150. And then just that, if I lose that, I can't do anything else.
Right.
I won't touch anything else.
Yeah, that's how I've always gambled. It's not that I don't understand it. It's so hard to wrap my head around gambling because I lose $300. I'm like livid.
Yeah.
I'm just walking around being like, I could have bought fucking 40 burritos.
Yeah.
Fuck. Like I can't.
Such a bad feeling.
I can't accept it. Like losing money to me is like it makes me crazy. I'd rather spend it. Mm-hmm. That's what's always so funny to me. I have to like do this backwards in my head because part of it's the competitiveness of losing money. Like I will get tickets to a basketball game and then sit in them and be like, actually, I wish I had better tickets, and then go to StubHub and buy another set of basketball tickets for the same game.
Do you really do that?
I've done that many times at sporting events or concerts, and then I lose like $80 playing poker, and I'm like, fuck, because one feels like I'm judging myself. I'm like, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
If you had played that hand, you could have. Anyways, that's my point.
Yeah.
I don't know if that has anything to do with anything.
Well, poker is just, it's so, when you mix gambling with the fact that there's competition involved,
yes,
it's insane. It triggers all the things in me that need to win it. Like it's indescribable.
I guess that's what I'm. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying. That I guess that's what I mean. It's like it's not just losing the money; it's also the feeling of like, why did I stay in this hand against this fucking idiot?
Yes.
Yeah, I had that happen too. So now I'm just telling poker stories, but I had that happen at a table in Vegas, and it was just a nice guy next to me, and we were chatting and whatever, and then I just kept calling. And he had like he had like 4 aces, some crazy shit. And I had like 2 pair, and I was like, I don't know, I thought you were trying to buy the pot. He's like, do I seem like a guy that would do that? And I was like, no, but that's what I thought the trick was. And he was like, oh, no. Like it was like one of those things where I was like, oh, he's trying, I know what you're trying to do. And then he just so genuinely was like, what? He's like, we're like chatting about sports.
That's funny you would say that, because that's such a nonsense sentence at poker. When the whole premise is you can't see this, and the things the point of the game is lying, and yes, you're giving certain information. So for him to say, "Do I seem like the kind of guy who would do that?" is just it's a pointless thing to say.
But he was like a genuinely,
but he genuinely
nice
meant it,
guy, yeah, and he was
funny.
And I think looking back, he was like, yeah, $30. Like he was like, dude, I have the nut hand. That's what he was trying to signal to me, is like, okay, $50.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, this guy's trying to push me around, and he's literally like, I like you. Like, leave this fucking hand. And
you're like, I'm not going anywhere.
It was actually like sweet, but I felt stupid because I was like, oh yeah, this guy is like a legitimately nice guy. Because most Vegas, I think people think of like poker rooms in Vegas, usually there's like one guy that's like serious.
Yeah.
Or maybe 2. But most of the time, it's guys like us that are like, oh, fuck, I lost. Maybe there's more really serious players, but you're not.
Well, when I'm there, I consider myself the serious guy, and I'm trying to.
Oh, really? Are you wearing like sunglasses and shit and like not talking?
I won't do sunglasses, but I pretty much won't. I won't talk too much, and I'm trying to like gather information and stuff before I lose all my money.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to gather something. I think some people may hate me. I try to feel people out, but I'm like, I want to have a nice time.
Yes.
I like to be like in between hands being like, oh yeah, the fucking Red Sox, they suck, or whatever. Right. Or I'll be the other day, and I like a game like that.
If with friends, if you're playing with friends, you should really only be playing like with friends, if that makes sense. You should be having the vibe of let's be friends and have poker, right?
Right.
If you're being too serious with a bunch of friends, you're crazy. But at a casino, I'm very serious.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I want to win the money.
Yeah.
But I also, you try to keep some levity. Because again, otherwise, that leads more to the fucking furious. Because then that's how you go on tilt and get angry and hate everyone at the table.
Yeah.
Ultimately, life, you're trying to have a nice time. Mm-hmm. I think. Because if you're there just to get money, you might as well work.
No, I mean, but getting money through poker is a different. Oh, it's such a thrill. Oh my god!
I don't think you should be gambling. I think I'm right and you're wrong, and you got a problem.
You're definitely right. I should not be gambling. I'm wrong about that.
But anyways, let's go to Mohegan sometime and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm down.
I just picture me at the table having a nice time, and you're like, "Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!"
I got my hoodie on.
Yeah, with glasses and a fucking mask and everything. Which I always wondered. Now people can wear the mask to their advantage, and just be like, "Oh no, I'm afraid," because I played.
Well, they
with
always could have, but yeah,
but I played with a guy who happened to be Asian. And he had a baseball hat down, sunglasses, and mask. And right away, when I get sat at that table, I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to."
Yeah, it's like that guy's too serious.
I don't want to be at this table. That sucks because you can't just like choose your table. They're like,
Right.
you're at table 9.
Right,
And I
right.
sit down and like that guy's there. And I'm like, oh, as soon as it's heads up, I'm like, forget it. I'm out. I want to play that guy. A guy that's wearing fucking glasses and a mask and a hat. I'm like, I don't need to get on an elevator with him, if you know what I mean. All right, we got to wrap up. You have a hot date. I hope this was enjoyable.
This was very fun.
Okay.
This was a blast.
And I hope I didn't take it to weird places that you hated.
Yeah. No, I think I took it to places that are very interesting.
Okay, good. I hope it was interesting. Lex, was it all right? Oh, Lex got the Hong Kong info.
Hong Kong is an autonomous special administrative region of China. So it's still part of their country. That's why it's one country, two systems is the whole Hong Kong thing.
Right.
It's still a part of China.
It's a part of China, but it's an autonomous government. Yeah. It's almost like Washington, D.C., as opposed, like in relation to like states, where it's like it's not a state, but it's like a thing. Mm-hmm. So there you go. It's still confusing. It's one of the that's the thing about Hong Kong. Someone reads you, here's what Hong Kong is, and then I'm no close. Excuse my burps. I had a burrito right before this, but I'm no closer to understanding. I'm like, all right, well, I don't know what that means.
Oh no, nothing.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you made it to the United States. I'm sorry that your dad did that. I think he stinks. No offense. But where can people find you? Tell them about your comedy.
Oh yeah, follow my Instagram, Peter Wong Comedy. You'll see my stuff, my reels. My YouTube channel has millions of views, so look me up, Peter Wong. And I don't know when this comes out, but I'm doing a little tour in May.
Yeah, it'll probably be after May.
Okay. Hey, just follow me.
Yeah, you'll be around. You'll be around. We'll be at the poker table.
Yeah.
I'll be winning. He'll be losing. I'll be happy. He'll be sad. Thanks for doing it, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
And good luck with this this cooking dinner for a lady.
Yeah.
Spicy. Sex.
Yes.
Bye.